Hey YouTube, it's ShryphonX here. Today, we're going to be talking about Kagurabachi Chapter 115. Like and subscribe for more content, the origin of the Enchanted Blades. Kagurabachi Chapter 115. This chapter spans 19 pages. In the Daten-Seki Research Facility, Room 6, we encounter Juji, a fellow agent of Hasumi, wearing an eye mask. Hasumi expresses his grievances about Shiba's reckless actions, which unsettles Juji. The scene takes an unexpected turn during Subaru's lecture, where he introduces himself and his apprentice. Juji is surprised to learn that the swordsmith is also a sushi chef, a man caught between two worlds. Hasumi clarifies that he's also a swordsman, a master of the Sakatsu one-sword style. However, Subaru overhears their conversation and corrects them, stating that it's actually a two-way street. Subaru explains that attempting to master multiple skills often leads to a lack of dedication and enthusiasm. He believes that sushi connects to everything through the concept of nijirai, which involves holding and forming rice. Therefore, the idea of gripping in sushi extends to swordsmanship and swordsmithing. A scientist discusses their findings regarding the Detensky's ability to generate a massive amount of spirit energy. However, the challenge lies in the fact that using it results in death. While channeling spirit energy powers up the rock, the empowered spirit energy returns to the user, causing them to explode from the inside. The scientist proposes finding a solution akin to a storage battery that can store excess electricity. This would provide a temporary escape route for the excess spirit energy, allowing the rock to be used safely. The scientist references Subaru's reputation, particularly his katana's incredibly smooth flow of energy. He mentions Subaru's book, Japanese Katana and the Flow of Spiritual Energy, which argues that the material used is crucial. Subaru provides several examples of materials that readily conduct spirit energy. So, the scientist proposes creating a conductor, but their research indicates that none of the materials possess any scientific evidence of affinity with spirit energy. Consequently, the scientist concludes that Subaru, as a blacksmith, has transcended the boundaries of scientific understanding. However, Subaru reveals that he fabricated all the content in his book and that there are no specific materials that readily conduct spirit energy. The underlying reason for this scam is simple. Subaru refuses to divulge his trade secrets to unskilled swordsmiths. The scientist inquires about how Subaru managed to pull off this feat. Subaru reveals that it was possible because he crafted it himself. Subaru demonstrates this by throwing two pencils at Juji, who is provoked to unsheath his blade. Recognizing Juji's prowess as a swordsman, Subaru uses him as a test subject and examines his sword, the supreme grade from Kazafian. Subaru asks Juji to hold his newly made katana, crafted from tamahagane and metal flakes, so that nothing extraordinary was used. The scientist observes the katana's quality and notes that the difference lies in skill, but he cannot perceive this principle being applied to a blade's ability to absorb spirit energy. Suddenly, the scientist's hand is cut off, causing him to panic. However, he notices that it was all an illusion. Hasumi observes that the atmosphere changed merely by Juji unsheathing his blade. Juji inquires about what distinguishes Subaru's blades. Subaru explains that when lightning strikes in areas with thin air and high humidity, it seeks out regions with better electrical conductivity, causing it to fall chaotically. Spirit energy operates on a similar principle, with factors such as the amount of carbon causing minuscule disturbances or the construction's response to heating influencing the creation of small pathways within the katana, facilitating the flow of spirit energy. Subaru refers to these veins as design elements that allow the spirit energy to flow seamlessly, enabling his katana to possess a pure killing ability. Juji is astounded by this pinnacle of swordsmithing. Subaru acknowledges that swordsmiths who comprehend veins are rare, and even among them, none of their katana match his. Subaru envisions the Daten Siki transformed into enchanted blades by incorporating veins into its design. It appears Subaru is the originator of the enchanted blades concept, which he himself wields. Will he assist Kunishige in creating them? Or is this entirely Kunishige's work? Subaru suddenly points his blade at Juji, who is teleporting alongside Shiba, Kunishige, and Mashiro. Mashiro bumps into a table due to his position relative to Shiba's teleportation. Hasumi panics, while Shiba explains that his intention was merely to introduce them to Kunishige. Kunishige immediately approaches Subaru to shake his hand, which Subaru's apprentice finds impolite. Subaru observes that Kunishige exudes an intense inner fire, indicating that Subaru can perceive his spirit. Subaru inquires about the number of blades Kunishige has crafted so far, to which Kunishige responds with 200, shocking the apprentice. Kunishige is relatively young, in his 20s, as per the rules of the Swordsmith Association, which limit a smith to making only 2 blades per month. The apprentice asserts that if Kunishige hasn't gained recognition for his blades, they are not of high quality. Kunishige declines to engage in further conversation, prompting Shiba to remind him that he will offer him food later. Kunishige heads to the blackboard and begins writing with his poor handwriting. He explains that the Daten Siki is highly sensitive to spiritual energy and amplifies its power when exposed to heat, reaching a temperature of approximately 1,000 degrees, which is the melting point of iron ore. He demonstrated this by placing a small fragment of the Daten Siki on a lighter flame in the previous chapter. The scientist is puzzled by his knowledge here and wonders if he's from the Sorcery Bureau. Kunishige offers to process the volatile Daten Siki, much to the scientist's surprise. Hasumi is alarmed that Shiba would involve his friend in government work. To appease Juji and the facility, Hasumi apologizes and assures them that he will punish Kunishige and Shiba. Later, Kunishige and Shiba end up in the same tight cell for their intrusion. Hasumi remarks that Shiba didn't know any details of the research, so Kunishige wouldn't have known within 12 hours since their last phone call about the Daten Siki. Hasumi wonders if Shiba figured everything out based on what he said about Kunishige's eyes. Subaru barges in, asking why someone like Kunishige is without status, and unsheathes Mashiro's sword. Mashiro says that Kunishige is picky about who he sells his swords to. As he inspects the blade, Subaru remarks that Kunishige is young and cocky. The chapter ends with Kunishige insisting on his food, even though both he and Shiba are detained. Editor's note: the human treasure sets his eyes on Kunishige's katana. Next chapter, what will Kunishige and Shiba, trapped behind bars, do to escape? And more importantly, what does this sushi geek have in store? Find out. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more content. ShryphonX out.